When I was 8 years old, my grandmother, who is probably the only person in my family that makes me know that I was not adopted, she sat me on her knee, and I was by myself in California visiting her. And she's my father's mother, and you know, I don't have enough time to explain this, but she sat me on her knee, pulled out a book, and it was about Santa Claus. And she says, "Do you see this? How it talks about Santa Claus and all of this stuff?" And she's like, "That's not real." And I also want you to know, it's the same thing with God. And I prayed that night. I laid in that fucking bed, scared shitless of my grandmother. And I prayed to God. And I said, "I know it's not true." And I still don't know if it is true or not. I'm not arrogant enough to say if there is or isn't a God. But if you don't see the way government, or even families, or just like small microcosms of government use God, the concept of God, to fuck with you, make you feel less, make you do what they want you to do in the name of a higher power, that is the most fucked up, deceitful shit. Have a personal relationship with the higher power. That's great. In fact, those are the people who I find have been the kindest, like just naturally. They're not there trying to win their way into heaven. They fucking give a fuck about people. It's part of my life, by the way. Yeah. But anyway, the devil only exists because of your belief in him. Same goes for that other guy. I believe the sun is simply reflecting the shine from the moon, stealing its spotlight. They'll have a cockfight at noon to settle their differences. At midnight, rematch to stir similarities on turntables that you can scratch will prove to be unreadable. The determining factor in who gets to pitch control the ties. No one decides the victim unless they give a fair listen to both the sides. We're lowlives. We go blind, jerking off to the eclipse. The sun was pulling cheap shots, doing commercial body tricks. Behind the back, under the leg. I think he even did a head spin on crossfader. It sounded whack, but looked excellent.
Yeah!
All of a sudden it gets dim. The crater face steps in, puts Mexican drum breaks on the techniques. He's like, "Let's begin." He started conducting an orchestra so dope the sun started sweating him. I guess he expected to win on pure artistic merit. Composing complex plays with nothing but sound bites. Burned out the lights, made MCs too self-conscious, put their mouths to mics for 1,000 nights. It continued without a single slip-up, except once the record skipped, but it kind of sounded cool. And it fit within the rhythm he was juggling. Polyrhythms out of country, western albums spinning. It is plain that he had come to win. But as always, due to corrupt judging, they drew a tie. So now it's do or die. The sun was like, but the moon was like, but the moon was like, but the sun was like, it was that got me. Spoken vocals, which was the joke of locals and laughing stock of my rock and roll hellhole. But the rhythmic acupuncture pierced my skin, pitting butterflies to my stomach, which would flutter every time I heard the more than the. I was no devil worshiper, higher level interpreter. I refuse to lose focus and recite satanic verses with many curses, drug-induced. Worst was I knew they were saying, "Kill your mother," because it paid them well. Yet in my flashback, I see the foreshadow, ironic twist. My first purchase was a hip-hop record called Raising Hell. I should have run when I had the chance, but DMCs made me want to breakdance, made me want to spin violent, made me want to graph right, made me want to not act white. Not to perpetuate any stereotype, but I was not about the mullet ice hockey haircut. Short on top for the fellas, long and back for the ladies. I was not about the stonewashed nut huggers with the French rolls on the bottom so tight it turned my toes purple. I was not about the ripped jean jacket with the Megadeth, Metallica, and Slayer patch. I had an internal itch for the and never could I get with the big hero guitar riff, the big hero guitar riff. I had wild style wars. I rented Big Street every week as I rocked steady, wearing out the play, rewind and slow-mo buttons on my VCR. I did the pause play all day, force Williams' comprehension of inner city invention. For me, it was in the expression which would eventually win me exception. One exception, those around me couldn't give me affection, but I played and paid that video attention till eventually I completely bit the I found my new religion. B-boy.
Yeah!
To teach joy, decoys, and be the real McCoy.
Yeah, boy!
You can know the time. Chuck D told me to keep a sober mind, and even though his sidekick liked the flavor of birds, swore to God hip-hop was about being drug-free. What? I swore to God hip-hop was about the upliftment of humanity. I swore to God hip-hop was what rock was not, was what rock was not pop. I guess I was gassed. I remember when Dr. Dre used to express himself about hating chronic. A few years later, he's endorsing it. Drinking gin and tonic. Suburbanites who blast mace learned their mad face from Onyx. It was a rat race, the first to properly use ebonics. Dynamite like JJ, but it was a fad like supersonic. Hip-hop flipped from being artistic to a pop hit. Mainstream to control, and we cannot stop it. It's a black art. It's being manipulated by white controllers. But what the fuck do you think rock and roll is?